Hi everybody, and welcome to the little video I'm doing now, recording for New Year's Eve. It's on the subject of New Year's resolutions and some of the craziness that goes around it. So a lot of you know I'm the guy that runs the Big Dream program, so I'm certainly interested, passionate about dreams and goals and what people are choosing to do with their lives and follow their hearts and all that sort of thing. And this time of year is a time when that subject comes up so much, especially around the whole idea of setting resolutions or thinking about this year and how it went and thinking about next year and what you want to change and all that sort of thing. And I think New Year's resolutions are a crazy subject because often they're perilous. And I think that, have you ever experienced it when you've set a New Year's resolution and you go into it with all oomph and zeal January 1st and January 2nd, and by January 6th it's getting a little tired, and soon after it fizzles? And yet we all know of those people. We all have somebody in our lives that managed to change something as a New Year's resolution, and they stuck with it. You know, it changed their lives, and we go, oh my God, why can't I be more like that? But I think that the difference is deeper than that. I think that people, when they've made a resolution like that and succeed, it's because it already changed in their heart first, and they already had the capacity to make that change. But I think that when most of us set New Year's resolutions, we pick the things that we've been struggling with the most, and we've not been successful with in the past. And so, of course, we want to change that, and that, you know, that seems smart. But it's a little bit like, I can't help but think of the old Bruce Lee films when Bruce Lee would kick a few people around, sort of thing, and then he would move up the levels until he was finally tackling the big scary guy in the corner, sort of thing. But he had built up to it, right? And I think that in New Year's resolutions, sometimes we pick the big guy in the corners right off the bat, and we say, if I could only whoop them, then I'd be satisfied. My life would be good. And it's setting ourselves up for disappointment. We may not be ready for that yet. What would make a smarter New Year's resolution? Sure, maybe you want to lose 20 pounds. Maybe you want to quit smoking or some addiction. Maybe you want to change something about your home life, your relationships, or your business, whatever. And so, are we automatically going to pick that big guy in the corner? And I think what we really want deep down is not just to solve a problem, like whoop that guy. We want to actually grow in our capacity, that we can handle something like that anytime. In our heart, we just want to grow so that big guys like that aren't an issue. And maybe when we get to that point, instead of whooping his butt, we'll go and invite him out for a coffee instead, or join a knitting club together or something. Right? New choices become available anyway. My point is that we can choose different goals that grow our capacity. And A, they're much more meaningful. And B, there's a whole lot more chance that we're going to follow through with them because we really, really care in our hearts. And so I'm teaching a teleclass on New Year's Eve, and I hope you can join me. This is going to be half the subject that we're talking about is choosing goals that grow you as a person. And I just think you're going to find it a very different way of choosing New Year's resolutions. I hope that some of you might think it's a smarter, more enlightened way, and I certainly know that if you do, it will lead to even bigger and stronger changes and decisions down the road. There's another big part of the teleclass, though, and I'm really passionate about this. This is the very first time I'm teaching this particular subject. It's been brewing for a while, so I thought New Year's Eve, that's the perfect time to do it. I think when it comes to the big, beautiful changes that we really want to make in our lives, that we really feel in our hearts is right for us, it doesn't often happen in a huge, big, blinding flash. It doesn't often happen in this huge bit of inspiration and strength that just paves the way completely and we can get on with living our true, authentic lives. I think it more happens in terms of small little things every day that lead us that way. When we go through our days, we have scripts running in our head. Often we're not even aware of them. Things we're saying to ourselves, questions we're asking ourselves as we approach things. And I have found something fascinating when it comes to following your heart. Now, I have e-courses and I teach programs where I'm helping people design with a structure, design their calling, design their way forward. And I'm also the first guy that's aware that that takes a little bit of time. You gotta be ready to put some time into planning that and so on. But I'm also aware that if you're going to make a lot of these changes, and even to get to the point where you can adapt this structure and start creating the life that you want, it happens before that. And I'm suggesting something that may be really, really helpful for you in terms of navigating through your daily life in a way that brings you closer to your dreams really quickly, like starting the first day. And it's so easy to implement. It doesn't cost anything, and it doesn't take any planning or willpower. Honestly, it doesn't, because all it is a series of a few questions. I'll tell you what those questions are. You have them in the back of your mind, and then when you're going through your day, you can ask these questions of yourself. And so when you're dealing with a challenge or a stress, if you're dealing with a relationship thing you want to change, if you're dealing with struggles, or even if you're dealing with your dreams and wonderful times and socializing and all that stuff, there's a series of questions that if you have in your head, it puts you in a different space. It puts you in a different energy, and it allows more of what you want to happen around you. Now, I work with energy and all of that, right? Energy healer. So the thing about energy is that when we're trying to create a beautiful life for ourselves, or a bit more beautiful than it is now, it's a bit like growing a garden. We can't force a tomato plant to grow. All we can do is create the environment that it can grow more easily. And in the same way, by asking a few simple questions of ourselves as we run through the day, we set an environment in ourselves and around us that allows things to happen, and allows them to happen serendipitously. And it, as I say, it requires no effort. It's just a slight change in the script that's going through our heads. And so I have a few examples of how I've used that myself and how other people have used it, and I've been astonished at the results. Sometimes the very same day that I started asking these questions. So I would love to share those with you. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting all this into a teleclass for New Year's Eve. And some of you, New Year's Eve is going to be the perfect time to look at this and listen to this and implement this in your life. For others of you, you may be too busy on New Year's Eve. You have stuff going on. So what I'm going to do is record the class as well and put it on the website, so you're going to be able to have access to it. So the details about to register for the teleclass are on this page, and I guess that's it. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your holidays, and I hope you have a wonderful 2010, what are we calling it? Anyway, I'm Alex Baisley from the Big Dream Program, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the teleclass. Bye. Sláinte.